Welcome back to CIA Declassified. We are turning our focus today to an event that sits uncomfortably at the intersection of rural American folklore and high-level intelligence assessment, the Flatwoods Monster incident of September 12, 1952 in Flatwoods, West Virginia. While the public and press quickly labeled the event mass hysteria, the declassified files, specifically documentation linked to Project ECHO-52, reveal a much more serious internal assessment by the CIA and Air Force Office of Special Investigations. Our focus document is CIA RDP 79001 08R 000 500 130 005-9, a later compilation and review of the initial ECHO-52 findings. The incident summary: multiple witnesses, a group of children, a National Guardsman, and a local woman reported seeing a brilliant object streak across the sky before it appeared to crash or land on a local hillside. Upon investigation, they reported a pervasive, acrid mist and encountered a towering 7-foot entity described as having a glowing red face, a hood-like cowl, and potentially an internal mechanical structure. The significance for the intelligence community was twofold. One, high witness fidelity. The multiple consistent accounts, including those from military personnel, raised the credibility above typical anecdotal sightings. Two, physical trace evidence. Reports of scorched earth and a lingering metallic chemical smell indicated a physical presence and potential energy signature. Project ECHO-52 was initiated not to track a monster, but to determine if the incident was a cover for a highly advanced foreign reconnaissance technology that had crashed, or if the entity represented an unconventional threat that had been compromised. The RDP 79 file serves as a retrospective on the ECHO-52 project. It systematically dissects the evidence recovered and the descriptions provided. The entity's profile. The document notes that the entity described by witnesses did not conform to any known human or conventional military protective gear. The mention of pleated green fabric and a spade-shaped head with glowing internal lights led the internal analyst to categorize the observation as either an advanced psychological projection or a non-human biological technological manifestation. Trace evidence dissection. This section confirmed the presence of a non-Earth-based high-energy source. The analysis revealed elevated levels of an unidentified metallic residue, often referred to by the internal code element 108, a likely internal placeholder name. Localized high-intensity thermal damage that could not be explained by forest fire or conventional propellant exhaust. The project's main finding was that the physical evidence corroborated the witnesses' claim of a physical object landing and emitting intense heat and chemical residue, regardless of the nature of the entity they observed. A quote from an ECHO-52 field report summary, quote, "The combination of acute thermal signature and the presence of non-terrestrial elements in soil samples taken within the impact radius confirms the localized presence of a non-Earth-based high-energy source. The entity description must therefore be considered in the context of this confirmed physical anomaly," end quote. And then another quote, this is from the Actually, I'm going to skip that one. Let's get to the redactions. The RDP 79 document is surprisingly open about the phenomenon itself, discussing non-human manifestations and non-Earth-based sources with clinical detachment. However, 3 consecutive pages are nearly solid black. The densest redaction is the entire file. Why this absolute silence? The redacted block immediately follows the sentence, AFOSI retrieval team designated, heavily redacted, secured the immediate perimeter at, heavily redacted, hours, and proceeded with the, heavily redacted, protocol. This sequencing allows us to deduce the likely subject matter concealed, the retrieval team. The repeated redaction of the team's designation suggests that this was not a conventional unit, but a highly sensitive specialized recovery group whose existence remains classified decades later. Naming the unit would instantly expose the organizational structure responsible for UAP retrieval. The site destination. The next pages deal with the movement of the recovered material. Since the trace evidence was unique, element 108, the intelligence community was clearly concerned with where that unique material went. The redaction almost certainly conceals the storage or analysis facility, a place like Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, Area 51, or a similar classified lab. The continued secrecy implies this facility is still active or that its location would be compromised. The critical failure, the final part of the redacted section, precedes the retrospective quote. The project's failure was not in confirming the existence of the entity, but in failing to secure and analyze the primary technological platform. End quote. The black ink likely covers the detailed after-action reports outlining exactly how the technological platform was lost, who was responsible, and what assets were deployed and failed. The heavy redaction is not concealing what they saw, but what they did. It protects the methods, personnel, and infrastructure that the U.S. government established in 1952 to respond to high-priority non-terrestrial intrusions. That infrastructure and its secrets remain active to this day. The Flatwoods event, analyzed through the lens of ECHO-52, was critical to defining the UAP threat during the Cold War. During this period, the U.S. was deeply concerned with Soviet technological leaps. An event like Flatwoods suggesting an unknown, silent, and highly advanced crash landing fueled paranoid fears. Adversarial espionage. Could the entity be a highly advanced remote-controlled drone designed to test U.S. reaction capabilities? Technological containment. If a UAP crashed, the priority was to ensure the technology did not fall into Soviet hands. ECHO-52 concluded that the possibility of a foreign adversary possessing such technology was low, but not zero. Ultimately, the project was closed with the determination that the incident was, quote, unresolved, consistent with off-world technology, end quote. This classification allowed the intelligence community to move the file out of active threat status but preserved the data under a highly protected category. The RDP-79 document served as a reference manual for how to handle future similar retrieval scenarios. The Flatwoods Monster lives on in classified history, not as a monster, but as a crucial early case study for the intelligence community on how to manage, contain, and classify evidence of potentially non-human technology. We conclude our analysis of the unsettling evidence within Project ECHO-52 and the RDP-79 files, reminding us that the CIA's purview extends beyond geopolitics into the truly anomalous. If this documented truth has opened your mind and reinforced your determination to understand the world as it truly operates, we rely on your support. First, like this episode and leave us a detailed 5-star review wherever you listen. This is how the analysis exposes the deeper strategic agendas. Second, share this episode with anyone who believes the Flatwoods case was merely a local spook story. Now, a programming note for our listeners: we are descending from the terrestrial mountains into the crushing depths of the deep ocean and into a file that chills the very foundation of marine acoustics. Our next episode will focus on a file from the mid-90s, CIA RDP 99001 23R 000 10007 0001-5. This file is linked to Project Kraken's Eye, a short-lived deep ocean surveillance program targeting captured Soviet hydroacoustic technology. We will examine what did the CIA's deep listening post record in the abyss. The file mentions the detection of a massive organized non-biological echo signature, a complex structure of sound pulses categorized as structured non-ambient radiance. Why does the file entry in the file dated 1997 include a warning that the SNAR phenomenon appeared to be initiating a coherent echo return protocol, suggesting that the deep sea anomaly was actively responding to the agency's sonar pings? This is the definition of a wild, secretive, and obscure encounter, not with an adversary, but with something entirely unknown. Tune in for our next episode, CIA Declassified, Project Kraken's Eye, structured non-ambient radiance. Until then, remember, maintain your vigilance, question what you see in the dark, and keep your critical thinking sharp. I'll see you in the archives.